I got married first time around at around age 19, 19 going on 20. And, she was able to, she was a US citizen and she, filed my papers and I was able to get a green card. I subsequently, after I got my green card, I filed for my mother and father. And my mother and father was able to get their papers within 5 years of me being in the United States. They in turn filed for my brothers and sisters to come to the United States. So sort of as if I was first generation to the United States. And I felt good doing that because I was able to help my parents to help my younger brothers and sisters. So that's how the generation started in the United States. I was also able to go to school. So I started college. The first school I went to was Medgar Evers College. And while in Medgar Evers College, I got recruited to join the military. So I actually left college and went into the military. While working in the store, a recruiter approached me about the military. Like, military? I want to go in the military. Just got married, had a young wife, and he's like, hey, look, you got the opportunity. You get money for school. They would pay for your school and they'll pay for your whole degree. I was like, they will. And so I thought about it and I took the test. I took the ASVAB test to get into the military, and according to him, I scored very high. I scored very well, and I could have been anything I want to be in the military. And so I joined the Navy. I was placed on a delayed entry program in 1992, and I went to active duty in 1993. I went to boot camp in Great Lakes, Chicago, graduated top of the class in boot camp, and then went to school, ADT school, graduated top of the school in ADT. I got a couple of promotions, based on my performance, coming ahead of the class. And then I went to my ship. After graduating ADT school, I went to my ship, the USS Nitro, which was an ammunition ship. So we carried ammunition around the world. Smallest bomb and boat was about 500 pounds. And, I was stationed in Earl, New Jersey. That's where I joined the ship from. And we went up and down the Mediterranean, picking ammunition up here, dropping ammunition there, picking from this port, dropping that port, take from that port, bring it to the other port, and visited quite a number of countries in Europe. Spain, Scotland, Greece, Italy, Sicily, Morocco, up and down the Med. So it was a good run. I enjoyed that. Initially, I was supposed to go in for 4 years active and 4 years reserve. But around that time, the military was downsizing. And so I was able to revisit my contract. And I got some help from the inside. They're like, listen, you might want to consider you have a little brains on you, so maybe you might want to do something in civilian world if you don't plan on staying and making this a career for 20 years. But you should probably pursue academics. So I was able to get my contract revised from 4 years active, 4 years reserve to 2 years active, 6 years reserve. So I got out after 2 years and stayed in the active reserve. The active reserve, you basically would have to you go to drill, you go to the base once every month, and on 2 weeks out of the year you have to go active duty. So 2 weeks out of the year you have to be deployed to serve active duty. But it's a 2 week minimum. You could do from 2 weeks up to 2 months, 3 months, whatever. And so I did that, 2 years active, and then 22 years reserve. So I retired from the US Navy with full honors on May 1st, 2015. So got a full pension from the US military after serving for 23 and a half years total. And like I said, it brought a joy to me. My service in the reserve was, it brought a joy to me. I was deployed in 2006 for a year to the Middle East. I spent a year in the Middle East. So prior to that, I also spent some time in Gitmo. Gitmo is Guantanamo Bay. So I spent about five or 6 months in Guantanamo Bay. Cuba is very beautiful, even though I was only on the on the American side of Cuba. But I did enjoy those are two of the deployments among many that stood out to me, because I guess maybe because of the length of time. I've deployed to other places for a shorter period of time, maybe a month, 2 months. But the Middle East was a little bit tough because you're so far away from your family. Yeah, bombs were dropping around, and you were scared, and you had IEDs, and leaving the base itself was was a challenge, because you're leaving a secure area to go in an unsecure area. At that time, 2006, it was a lot of IEDs. The roadsides were laden with IEDs, and vehicles were blowing up and down from just driving up and down the road. But everything was in the hands of God. I put my faith in God. I never turned back with that. I had my Bible with me, and I used to read my Bible every day. I still do. I went to the US in 1989, and from 1990, I started reading a scripture every day. I would just open the Bible randomly, and I would read a scripture, and whatever I read, I write it down. So I've kept a chronological order of my readings from 1990 to present every day. God give me life. I open my eyes, open my Bible, read a scripture, meditate, I pray. And that kept me in the Middle East. I know for a fact it did. It kept me safe. And like I was saying, the hardest part for me was being away from my family. I miss my kids. I had two daughters that was 6 or 6.5, 7. No, they're not twins. They're not the same mother, but they're very close. And I miss them. I missed a lot of the younger part of their life. That part, with them being in grade school and missing the first time they did this, and the graduation and the birthdays and all of that. So I did lie in my bed at night and cry. I did cry. As a grown man, I did cry. Imagine you're in the middle of the war and you're crying because you miss your family. Your family is everything. I was supposed to deploy in Afghanistan in 2010, but that didn't come to fruition. I ended up deploying stateside, and they sent me to Key West, Florida. So instead of going to Afghanistan, I went to Key West, Florida. So that was again very memorable trip. In the reserve, I was in the Seabees. The Seabees is the construction part of the Navy. So we train with the Marines. If you look at the CB logo, you have the hammer in one hand and the weapon in the other hand. And that's because we move with the Marines and the Army. So you train with the Army and the Marines. Our main regiment, we were attached to a Marine regiment. And that's because the Seabees, the work of Seabees is to set up base camp. Meaning we go into a place, I don't like using the word invade, but we go into a place, American troops land in a place, and the Marines or the Army touch down, and the next to hit the ground would be the Seabees, because we are the construction force of the military, so to speak. So we would construct the base from soup to nuts. You take a piece of land and you turn it into a base camp. The galley, the bathrooms, the berthings, the shops, the commissaries, everything, we set it up, right, from scratch. And so we had to learn to fight to defend ourselves, because, you're going into conflict in the initial days of conflict, maybe on day 2 of the conflict, because the initial troops go in, and then once the area is sort of secured, you got to go in and now set up everything for the comfort of the troops. But at the same time, you got to fight to defend your position, right? So we did that. We did the CBs for 22 years until I retired, and like I said, I retired in 2015.
What we have done for ourselves alone dies with us, and what we have done for others and the world remains, and it is forever. Congratulations on your retirement.
I did some college courses while in the military, and then when I got out, I went to Brooklyn College to finish up my bachelor's degree. So I did both Medgar Evers and Brooklyn College. And, after that time, other job changes like NYPD and so, which we'll talk about a little later on. And I was able to finish my bachelor's degree.